Welcome to SnowEx Liquid Solutions training module, using liquids to build a high-performance material program. Part 1, Sustainable Salt Management. In this module, we will examine why taking a sustainable approach to material management is essential to the success of a winter maintenance business model and an important first step in adding a liquid program. We will discuss starting this process by evaluating current state practices to identify areas for future improvement. And lastly, we will review key planning considerations and the value of developing customized best management practices within a process of continual improvement. Then in Part 2, in the next module, we will explain the science behind liquid de-icers and demonstrate the pivotal role they play. Many contractors who have developed successful liquid programs will tell you that their journey actually began by taking a strategic approach to material management that is ultimately sustainable and cost-effective for their businesses and for their customers. Using the triple bottom line model for sustainable business to illustrate this point, sustainable business practices fall in one of three areas. The first and most important drive profitability and growth. The second and third areas pertain to the impact of business practices on the society and environment in which the business functions. Practices in these areas may reduce certain business risks or costs or provide a competitive advantage. Business practices that benefit all three areas position a business to be optimally sustainable over time. Efficient salt management practices, and liquids in particular, hit that sweet spot that protects people by providing improved levels of safety for both pedestrians and service crews, reducing liability risks, and providing greater protection for customer property. Protects the planet by reducing chloride use and resulting harmful environmental impacts, positioning service providers to be optimally prepared for anticipated regulations, and ultimately protects and grows business profitability by decreasing labor, equipment, and material overhead costs. The purpose of developing a high-performance or sustainable material program is to continually improve a business's ability to source or produce materials and utilize them most efficiently and cost-effectively to achieve service objectives. Simply put, to use the right material in the right way at the right time. Prior to an event, anywhere from hours up to 2 to 3 days beforehand, pre-treating with liquids is the preferred protocol close to 90% of the time. If a system is starting with rain or if liquids are not in the toolbox, pre-treating with pre-wet or pre-treated granular material is a better alternative to doing nothing at all. During or after an event, the first strategy to be employed before applying chemicals should be to plow or mechanically clear surfaces as much as possible. For sidewalks, this should be done no later than after 1 to 1.5 inches of accumulation. For parking lots, this is typically laid out in the contract, but the longer a contractor has to wait before beginning to clear, the longer, harder, and more costly it will be. During or after an event, and after mechanical clearing, the right action will largely be determined by surface conditions subsequent to clearing and how the storm is expected to progress. If pre-treating was successful and clearing has resulted in achieving close to bare surface conditions, and if the pavement temperatures warrant and little or no additional accumulation is anticipated, post-treating with direct liquid application, or DLA, may be a preferred tactic. If there is remaining ice or hard pack and/or pavement temperatures have dipped below 15 degrees, surface conditions are beyond what straight rock salt can effectively treat, and spreading massive amounts of it is neither an efficient or effective tactic for the contractor nor in their customer's best interest. Switching to a granular material, pre-treated or pre-wet with a calcium or magnesium chloride or blend is the better choice. As far as the right material, there are a variety of factors that can affect this decision. Industry consensus suggests that sodium chloride is the most effective choice down to about 15 degrees pavement temperature. Below that, the choice between supplementing with calcium or magnesium chloride will depend largely on regional supply and availability. The service goals you are trying to accomplish and the time in which you have to achieve them are another factor, as are any specified customer constraints with regards to the use of chlorides. In addition to doing the right thing at the right time, it is likewise important to use just the right amount of material to accomplish goals. This determination also factors pavement temperature and rate of snowfall accumulation to determine the appropriate material application rate to achieve desired performance objectives in the required time frame. It is not practical or cost-effective to try to melt snow using vast quantities of salt. By employing a preventative anti-icing approach, service providers pre-treat, plow, and then use up to 75% less salt on the back end. According to most contractors, their customers get better results, and they consistently achieve significant reductions in their overhead costs. To achieve best results from this type of strategic approach to material management, it is best to start with a Kaizen or thorough evaluation of current state practices in all areas of material management, mapping out those processes and identifying areas where improvements can be achieved for both contractor and customer. This process will benefit greatly from including key staff from across all functional areas of the business, including crew leaders, sales, and someone from the business end so that all related concerns are addressed in a comprehensive and integrated manner. After current state has been carefully mapped and areas for improvement identified, the next step is to prioritize those areas where changes can best benefit the business and to establish future state goals. At a high level, those may include things like reducing costs and risk or increasing customer satisfaction. But on a functional level, what do you plan to do different to get there? What changes to operations will give you the most bang for your buck? Specific examples may include buying ice melt in 25-pound bags instead of 50-pound bags to reduce leftover salt that often gets dumped by sidewalk crews, replacing broadcast spreaders on sidewalks with drop spreaders, or calibrating equipment. This also is where the addition of a liquid program becomes an essential undertaking for the achievement of optimal results. In addition to SnowEx's online resources and training seminars, the Snow and Ice Management Association, or SIMA, provides industry-standard resources on sustainable salt management and liquid practices. Lastly is to develop a step-by-step implementation plan for the desired changes, establishing timelines, tasks, cost estimates, and allocating resources. To ensure smooth integration of the changes and their alignment with both the business and operations end of things, it is critically important to set realistic, incremental objectives and not try to do more than what can be effectively handled by available resources. The Winter Maintenance Assessment Tool is a comprehensive online tool developed by the state of Minnesota for exactly this type of planning. This tool allows you to use your business information to develop a customized, step-by-step roadmap that will enable you to set realistic targets and achieve those goals over a 2 to 5 year period of time. It is easily available by Googling Winter Maintenance Assessment Tool. Other key considerations in the development of a sustainable salt management program may include the following. Choosing the de-icer most suited for a particular operation will depend to a great extent on the temperatures and winter conditions typical for that region. As an example, in the mid-Atlantic, the average pavement temperature rarely if ever gets below 15 degrees, and typical events have high moisture content. Calcium and magnesium chlorides are usually unwarranted at these temperatures, and because they are hygroscopic and attract moisture, especially in liquid form, they can pose a risk of creating slippery conditions if not applied with great care. In this region, sodium chloride not only costs less, but is usually a better choice. And while salt is the most widely effective, available, and cheapest material, in the mid to upper latitudes of the snow belt, where the low temperature performance provided by calcium or magnesium chloride is required, regional availability and cost will determine the preferred choice. Customer service requirements likewise impact material selection and the timing and preferred method of application. A zero-tolerance account will typically require a different approach from that employed for one with a 2-inch trigger, and the optimal material selection or method of application for customers concerned about damage to concrete, landscape, and flooring may vary from those used for customers indifferent to these concerns. Another factor is the potential impact of the services one provides on the environment. This is a rapidly growing area of public concern as chloride levels in the inland waterways have more than doubled in 20 years, resulting in escalating, costly, and potentially dangerous infrastructure, environmental, public health, and economic impacts. For example, the service provider for this parking lot along the Flint River may want to reassess their salting practices at the site, especially since experts attribute the runoff from winter services to be largely responsible for the heightened corrosivity of that river and a contributing factor to the public health crisis in that city. As a result of these trends, in 2016, SIMA added sustainability to its core values and is encouraging service providers to begin now to integrate sustainable salt management practices to prepare for anticipated regulation. Assessing salt-sensitive areas nearby or on the sites a contractor services is becoming an increasingly important factor in material strategy decisions. The reduced chloride solutions offered by taking a sustainable approach can substantially help to mitigate contractor risk in this regard, and is an area where the use of liquids in particular provides a competitive advantage. The decision to buy brine and pre-treated salt or to make them in-house is another consideration. When just getting started with liquids or using them on a small scale, it may make sense to purchase them. Once using liquids in any quantity, however, treating salt and making brine optimize cost benefits as long as on-site storage is not a concern. To optimize long-term return on investment from taking a sustainable approach to salt management, exploring equipment solutions that provide superior performance results with little or no salt is likewise important. Some of these may include plow technology that achieves a cleaner scrape, or spreaders capable of controlling material output and reducing salt application rates downward toward industry best management practice levels, or by utilizing a UTV equipped with both plow and brine applicator that enables a single operator to clear and post-treat in one pass and accomplish in minutes what would otherwise take 3 to 4 crew members 3 to 4 hours to do by shoveling and salting. Establishing best management practices for the procurement, production, storage, handling, application, and cleanup of materials is integral to sustaining the profitability of a winter maintenance operation. Best management practices are guidelines or a starting point from which a service provider can tailor them to meet their specific business needs and goals. This especially applies to application rates, as previously discussed. Again, SIMA is an excellent source for learning more about sustainable best practices, as is the Clear Roads Manual of Best Management Practices shown here. While developed primarily for municipal use, it provides a wealth of information and guidance for the commercial snow contractor interested in developing practices that are optimally sustainable for their business. A link for a download of this manual can be found under Additional Resources. Lasting success will also require systematic calibration of material spreaders and sprayers, something that has been shown to provide up to a 50% reduction in material costs. Establishing best management practices and providing your crew with the training and tools to implement them and to document the results plays an integral role in the continual improvement process. Contractors who begin this journey say that it never ends, that their teams are constantly innovating and refining operations and material application practices. Ultimately, success is data-driven by tracking material usage, performance results, and labor costs over time. Or as someone once said, you can't manage it if you don't measure it. Thank you for your interest in liquid solutions. To learn more about liquid materials, please see Part 2 of the module Using Liquids to Build a High-Performance Material Program, The Science Behind Liquid De-icers, and the training modules on pre- and post-treating with liquids.